Unlike what the majority of people think, your income isn't the sole factor that will determine how wealthy you will become. There are three things that will determine how wealthy you will become. It is time. Time is how long you can invest your money for. Second is the return at which you can get when you invest your money. And three is how much money you invest. Time means I can put my money aside and let it compound. If you can put your money into an investment and let it grow for 100 years, well, even if you got a low rate of return, you can see that money grow a lot over the 100 years. In the investing game, it's all about how fast can you double your money. And if you can double your money every 10 years versus every 2 years, you can build a lot more wealth if you can double your money every 2 years. But this is where how can you invest your money longer that your money can double more times. Your return is how fast can you grow your money? Going back to now, how long is it going to take me to double my money? Is it going to be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And the way that you can reduce how long it takes for you to double your money is by increasing the return that you get. How do you increase the return that you get? Well, this goes back to your financial education, learning how to invest your money, learning how to find good investment opportunities, looking for how to find value add opportunities. That way you can go out and find better deals that will give you better returns. And then the third thing is, how do you invest more money? And the way that you can invest more money, meaning put more money towards your investments, is either you can spend less or you can earn more money. Now, there's a limit to how much less you can spend. Like if you make $50,000 a year, yeah, there's a limit to how much less you can spend. Maybe you can put aside $10,000 a year right now. Maybe you can go up to $15,000 a year, maybe even $20,000 a year that you can work to put aside. That way you have money that's going to be invested, because what you realize is the more you invest, the wealthier you become. And then you want to do more of that. But there's no limit to how much you can earn. Because if you can take that from $50,000 a year to say $500,000 a year, now you can invest way more aggressively without sacrificing every nice thing in your life. And this is where you have to figure out what is the right thing for you. How can you earn more money? Now, I've talked about this a lot of times, but not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. Some people feel like they have that entrepreneurial bug, but they don't have the ability to take on all that risk, at which case you could look into being an intrapreneur. An intrapreneur is where you work inside of somebody else's company. This could be a startup. This could also be a big company, just depending on the position, where now you're working to lead something, come up with ideas, leading a new product or something, some idea, but you have the safety net of a company, you have the safety net of a salary, and you have the safety net of somebody kind of giving you that protection. That way you don't have to go out and start it all from scratch all by yourself. For some people, this type of entrepreneur role is the best thing for them, because being an entrepreneur and taking on all that risk is a whole different game. Now, how do you find these types of entrepreneur positions? Well, if you work for a startup, pretty much everybody in the early stages of a startup has to be an entrepreneur, because you're doing a little bit of everything. You have to make sure that this company works. You have to make sure that the division works, and you have to make sure that the team works together. And if you get in early in a company, yeah, you might have to sacrifice your salary for a little while, but you will have the opportunity to earn way more money if the company is able to grow, because you were on as one of the early companies. That means you could potentially see your salary grow significantly, and that also means you could potentially get some sort of equity or ownership in the company or revenue share in the company. That way, as the company grows, because you were on early, you were able to make a much bigger impact and earn a lot more money in the long term. But it's an investment in your part, because if the company fails, well, you don't really get much out of that. The next thing is, if you're not that entrepreneur type, how can you earn more from your job right now? Is there a way for you to create a second job, or maybe get a certificate or get some other skill that way you can earn more money? Or is it something that you can do entrepreneurially? And right now, in this economic system, it has become so much more accessible for anybody to earn more money thanks to the internet. Now, this doesn't mean that it's easy, but accessible means it's possible. And I can tell you from experience that YouTube has changed the game significantly. And it's not just YouTube. I mean, it's all content. Content is the future. And I say this not just from being a content creator or randomly talking on YouTube videos, but even for business owners, people who have products, people who have things that they're selling. Content is how businesses and people are getting the word out. Because what has happened in the past is, let's say I had the idea to create a mug. You would come up with this mug idea, then you would want to get it into stores, and you try to sell it in different places, because you'd work with this other third party who could help distribute your product. And what people have learned is there's a limit on how many distributors there are, stores and people and all that. But you can almost cut out that distributor now by distributing directly to your consumer, directly to your customer. And the way that you find that customer is through your content, because people are spending a big chunk of their lives on social media. And I can tell you this because recently Instagram announced a feature or released a feature which allows people to put a blue little check mark next to the name. It gives you that verification badge. And what I have seen happen is you see a lot of people with 45 followers or 110 followers and very few posts who are now paying whatever it is, I think it's $10 a month or something, paying their $10 a month. That way they can put a little check next to their name. What are you getting from that? Well, for some people, it's that clout. It's that sense of validation. And they're willing to invest their own money, which maybe they can't even afford. Maybe they can, I don't know. But people are investing their own hard-earned money just so they can have that little piece of validation on the internet, on this one app, a little blue check mark right next to their name. So yeah, people do value what's going on the internet a lot. And do you want to know something else? People hate being sold to. In fact, people hate the idea of being sold to so much that they're willing to pay for it. People will pay to avoid advertisements on YouTube. YouTube has a feature. You can pay for YouTube, the premium plan, where you don't have advertisements on YouTube. Why? Because people don't want to watch the advertisements. People pay on Netflix to avoid the advertisements. Yeah, it's a waste of time, but also because people hate the idea of being sold to. That's how much people hate advertising. But with content, it's a little bit different, because then people go out of their way to watch you or your thing, your content creation. They go out of their way to watch or listen to or see your content. And then you have the permission to market whatever it is that you want. For example, we have a newsletter called Business Briefs, which is a free newsletter for business owners, entrepreneurs, and founders. And do you want to know how I promote it? Well, I make videos like this, and then I talk about my newsletter called Business Briefs, which is a free newsletter to keep you up to date on the latest business trends and what's happening in the world of innovation and funding and entrepreneurship. And guess what? It's completely free. If you want to join Business Briefs, I got the link to how you can join down in the description below. This is a way that now you can integrate your product, your brand, your whatever it is that you're selling to your audience. And if you can learn this, you can also provide a lot of value to other businesses, because this is going to be a major way that companies and brands will market their products in the future. Because 10 years ago, we started to first see the shift where you started to see media happen outside of TV. 10 years ago, back in 2013, people got their media still only from TV. Yeah, YouTube was coming up a little bit and there were some things happening online, but it was not that significant. Over the last 5 years, we have seen a major boom, especially after the pandemic, of people consuming their content from the internet. Whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Reddit, people are consuming way more online now than they were 5 years ago. And this trend is not slowing down. People don't go on to watch TV or the news on TV. They're finding the news and information from other places. And it's the same way that they're learning about their favorite products. Now, before, when a company had a product or something they wanted to sell, they would try to find a celebrity and pay them. They said, oh, we can just sponsor somebody and have them promote our product, which was a way that worked. But now, as sponsor rates and advertising rates are going up, companies, more and more companies are saying, we're going to want to do some of this ourselves as well, which is why now you're going to see, and we are starting to see, some of the biggest brands in the world, and more brands around the world, come onto the internet. At first, it was coming onto the internet to be able to sell their products on the internet. That was like 10 years ago, when companies were like, okay, maybe we should get into this whole e-commerce thing and sell things online, because it looks like Amazon is right that we need to sell things online. Now, the next decade, it's going to be, okay, maybe we need to get into this content creation business, because people love watching content on the internet, and every company is going to want to have some sort of media division in their company, because media is how you get people to hear about you. And this media is no longer running advertisements on TV. This media is creating your own content. And This is one of those things that you can't learn this in school, because by the time the teacher learns it and then teaches you in that semester, everything will change by the end of that semester. And one of the best ways for you to learn this is by doing it yourself. And by doing it yourself, you can either try to monetize it yourself by being an affiliate for other companies. You can get sponsorships and advertising revenue, or you can sell your own product. And your product could be things like physical mugs. It could be education. It could be some sort of service that you have to offer. It could be whatever other product that you have. Or you can also monetize by saying, you know what? I'm going to take this new skill that I learned and offer this as a value to a company that I believe in, to a startup, to a more established company, because now you have a completely different skill that you can offer as well. Because the reality is this is where the world is going. And now you have the ability to get on top of this trend if you are looking to earn more money. Now, if you're saying, I'm happy at my job, I make more money, fine. But if you want to earn more money, the content business is one of the fastest growing and one of the most underrated industries, because if you can capture somebody's attention, you can make money. And the best example I can give you of this is think of Kim Kardashian. Whether you hate Kim Kardashian or love Kim Kardashian, she has people's attention. And because she has people's attention, if she wanted to launch her own line of toilet paper, I can guarantee you she would make millions of dollars from that toilet paper. Why? Because she has your attention. And if you can capture somebody's attention, you can make money selling whatever it is that you want to sell, but you have to first be able to get that attention. That way you can then sell an item. Because before, if you wanted to sell toilet paper, you had to get the distribution. And if you couldn't get the distribution, you had to spend a ton of money on advertising to get people to hear about your product. Now, that communication can be done effectively and organically, but it takes a lot of investment and to get that attention. And so now the name of the game is getting that attention. And if you can get that attention, there are an infinite ways that you can monetize that attention, but you have to be able to get that attention. And content in the modern day has allowed anybody to be able to get that attention. But now it's how do you get that attention? And if you can get that attention, you can earn more money. But again, why are you earning more money? You're earning more money not just so you can buy a faster car, but so you can buy more investments. And now when you buy more investments, because you're earning more money, you'll have your wealth being built faster. And then you can use your investments to then live off of, because now you have more money coming in that we can buy more assets, and your assets can buy you more freedom. That is the name of the game. Work to earn assets instead of working to own nice things. If you continue to follow the system, your assets will be able to buy you the freedom that it is that you're looking for, but you want to be able to do it as fast as possible. If you want to do it as fast as possible, you have to earn more money. And if you want my opinion, content is the way to earn more money. Because if you can build good content and capture somebody's attention, you can make money in an infinite number of ways. And this trend is not slowing down. Now you're earning more money. What do you do with this more money? You buy more assets. When you buy more assets, you can have more freedom. This is the name of the game. The majority of Americans cannot afford to buy a home. That's according to data that came out in 2023, which says that about 6 out of 10 Americans cannot afford to buy a home in this economic environment. Now, that being said, we're not seeing homes in the housing market becoming more affordable. In fact, every time we see